Yeah. Talking some of that Detroit Lions today. We're talking some of this Detroit Lions stuff today. I'm going to throw the link in. You're a Packer fan. Go like Bill the Packer fan. That's who we like fighting on here. If you're a Skull fan, we'd love to see you on NFC North Open Mic. NFC North Open Mic. That's each and every Monday night at 7 p.m. Represent your team. Who's going to be the baddest team in the NFC North? That's what we're going to find out this year, right? Lots of hype surrounding the Detroit Lions. Lots of hype surrounding the Chicago Bears. Not so much hype around the Green Bay Packers, but that's all right. That's all right, man. We're going to talk about these Detroit Lions today. I want to do that because I was waiting for Smoking Jeremy B to get in here, and there he is. Smoking Jeremy B. We're going to bite some kneecaps today, man. And
yeah, we might as well.
We are broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions news, the Detroit Lions villain squad, even Bill the Packer fans page, Mike the Bear fans page, NFC North main event page, and a couple of YouTube pages as well. And we appreciate all of the hardcore fans that are here right now, because that's if you're not a hardcore fan and you're watching us, I don't know what your deal is, because it is June 15th, 2023, and we're here to talk about some football. I want to talk about projections today. I don't know if you knew. I didn't give Jeremy any type of memo on what we wanted to talk about, but there's a lot of hype surrounding some of our skill positions, and I just kind of want to know we got Jahmyr Gibbs drafted 12th overall.
Yes,
what are your projections, like running totals? Like how would you see the Lions using him right here, right off the bat?
Right off the bat, I think he's going to be used more as a slot or an X receiver because he has the speed to do it, and that's how they've been using him all OTA.
Oh, did he cut himself out? Yeah. Well, Robert says that it's just hype, but we're going to talk about that hype just a little bit. You kicked yourself off, man. That take was so hot.
Yeah, we've been using him all. Off season here, and it might kick me off here in a second because I'm trying to get it to where it streams to my channel for you. Get you some work.
I'm not sure how you do that. I am not sure. I may be streaming into too many channels already. They only give you 8, and I don't know if you can go into more than.
I can go into more because I have my own channel.
Right. Okay. Cool. We'll get a couple ghost channels on there. So Curtis came in with while we're thinking about that. He says 500 yards rushing and 800 yards receiving if healthy. I think that's a pretty good take right there. I mean, to expect.
And we are live on my channel too.
All right. I see it. It popped up on mine. It says random link, but we're also live on Smoking Jeremy B's YouTube channel, baby. Make sure you go subscribe.
Which is now named Kneecap Biting with the Detroit Lions. It's time to stop promoting myself and promote the show as a Lions fan page, because that's exactly what it is.
Because we're going to be biting some kneecaps this year. Robert says it's just hype, but he is a Packers fan. He's still butthurt that they got truck sticked twice last year, and
they
they're
got
1-3
version of
versus the Lions.
Dropzilla named Christian Watson.
Dropzilla. So what do you think? So I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting like 1,000 yards out of this guy, and
I think we should expect that, barring his help.
You mean
like
from a rushing standpoint, you think so?
I'm saying total yardage. Total yardage should be somewhere between 1,000 and 13 yards. How it split, I don't know, but I have the feeling it'll be more receiving than rushing because I think David Montgomery is our main rushing threat.
Yeah.
He averaged exactly the amount of separation that the Detroit Lions O-line created with an O-line that allowed him to be hit 0.7 of a yard behind it.
That's crazy to think of, like, where he's going to be breaking that first tackle is going to be 4 yards down the field. I think that Montgomery is a great call out because really, if you're a Lion fan, and that's the point that I wanted you to make right there. If you're a Lion fan and you're expecting Jahmyr Gibbs to have 1,000 yards rushing, you're completely misconstruing why they brought him in here.
They brought him in because they already knew the suspension was happening. We needed somebody to replace Williamson's speed opposite Amon-Ra, who's a technical route runner and a great burst guy. But what he does not have is that great speed.
I don't think it had anything to do with the JMO thing. I think it had everything to do with 5 years of a guy that they want to catch 60 to 80 balls a year, just like Alvin Kamara. They want to use him just like they used Alvin Kamara in his rookie year.
Right, which means it'll be anywhere from 300 to 600 rushing yards, and you're going to get 400 to 700 receiving yards.
Yeah, and I like that call right there.
And just like Alvin Kamara, his rookie year, he was not a red zone threat then. That was done by Mark Ingram his rookie year, and then they let go of Mark Ingram after that.
Right, and here Aiden Whitaker says that. He says that he cannot rush for 1,000. He's not going to. You don't want him to rush for 1,000 yards. For one thing,
Montgomery to do that.
Yeah, you want Montgomery to be your bell cow. I mean, the way that it's set up, if they use him like a running back, it would be bad, But I think that he can hit 1,500 all-purpose yards if he has a good season. Right. So I think that
I'm giving it's 1,000 plus. That's what I see. That's a successful season for a rookie.
So we got Evan, the Packer fans in the back right here. I didn't know if I was going to get you on a Lions type of day here, but I know that we have lots of Packer fans that are watching and trolling, so we appreciate you guys too. How you doing, Evan?
Good. I woke up about 30 minutes ago, so I'm doing good today.
Get some of that caffeine. Are you a caffeine guy? Monster drink?
Oh, yeah.
What do you do? Yeah, okay. Well, we were kind of going through roster wise here in for the Detroit Lions, because we are in the Detroit Lions news. I took a lot of crap the last couple of days on turning it all NFC North. I do have to put some love and just do Detroit Lions content because that's what we are. But we're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, as a Packer fan, what would you expect out of this rookie? How much do you know about Jahmyr Gibbs?
I know a little bit, of course, because he is good. He is good. I'd probably say around 1,000 yards.
And that's total. I mean,
total.
Yeah.
It really does depend, because he is a kind of dual threat with his legs and over the top. He has good separation. I know that.
Yeah, when they had him in the training camp, they said that he was unguardable. He was Goff's best friend out of the backfield. That's what he's getting slated as. And realistically, I think by week 3, and you can think this, Lion fan, and this, I want Packer fan to hear this because this is some homerism right here, is you can expect him to catch 80 balls this year. You can expect them to target him 10 to 12 times in the passing game, every single game, and you can bank on it. And by week 3, you won't give a shit that he was picked 12th overall. You'll just be happy that he has scored 3 touchdowns in 2 games and that he's on your team.
He will have 1 touchdown receiving, 1 touchdown rushing. And the reason why is because he's elusive. Not that he makes people break tackles on him. He makes them miss tackles. He breaks linebackers and safeties' ankles. He's one of those guys that is that shifty. Yeah. I'm not calling him Barry Sanders yet because that has proven. But if he has an Alvin Kamara-esque rookie season, like I said, 300 to 500 yards rushing, 400 to 700 yards receiving, that's what I see happen.
Right. And with the offensive line, the way it is, you're getting 4 yards. You're getting 4 yards before you're getting contacted. So they didn't have talent in the backfield like that. I mean, I love you, Jamal Williams, but you're a one cut guy. You kind of get what you get, right? He hits the hole, he'll get what he can get, but he doesn't have that. Okay, now I'm going to put a move on the guy on the second level, make him miss, and then I'm running for the touchdown, trying to outrun people. We haven't had a guy like this in Detroit, maybe ever, maybe since Javid Best, maybe. But Swifty was never that fast. Swifty was shifty, but he wasn't like, he isn't going to run away from people. He would get run down by fast secondary people. There ain't nobody running down Jahmyr Gibbs. Nobody in the NFC North for sure.
And to turn around and gain the speed again, the only guy in the whole NFC division that would catch him from behind is Bubba Baker.
Williams saved your rush game last season. Yeah. Well, Williams had 17 touchdowns. And you're right. He broke Barry Sanders' record last year. And we should all just drop our jaws right there. But you know what? 9 of those touchdowns were 1-yard touchdowns where he did not get touched
and the longest
by a defender.
10 yards.
So is that more Jamal Williams or is that more Frank Ragnow just saying, hey, defensive lineman, get the hell out of my way. My running back's about ready to score. And it doesn't matter if he's the popcorn guy. The popcorn guy could have scored those 9 1-yard touchdowns because he wasn't touched by a defender.
My 52-year-old ass could have scored a touchdown behind that.
Yeah, Jeremy Ball fighting kneecaps. His kneecaps are gone, and he could have scored a touchdown. No, I'm not taking anything away from Jamal Williams. He got another job down there, but we offered him more money, and he took less money to complain. So that's kind of on him. He's the one with egg on his face.
Offered him almost the exact same contract that we gave David Montgomery, and he turned it down, and he went to New Orleans and then bashed us because we didn't offer him enough in his opinion.
And if you want to tell me that Jamal Williams and David Montgomery then I mean, I don't know about your football knowledge. I have to question who you are. If you can't look at David Montgomery and see that he's a more talented running back than Jamal Williams, I don't know what to say for you.
Stop playing with us.
I don't know, man. David Montgomery led the league in break tackle rate, and he's about ready to go behind an offensive line. He's never played behind an offensive line like this offensive line. I think David Montgomery is about ready to have a career year here in Detroit. And it's not like he's old. It's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about. Let's move on to another position. Let's look at this wide receiver room. Now, I know we are missing Jameson Williams for the first 6 weeks, but Jeremy Ballrick, who do you think is going to be the not Amon-Ra St. Brown wide receiver or pass catcher to step in and take the production that they wanted to be slotted to Jameson Williams?
I already said it's Jahmyr Gibbs during that first 6 weeks. They're going to use him because he's the next fastest one on the team. They're going to use him in the X. They're going to use him in the slot. They're going to move him all around that wide receiver room. And then if we're in that second and mid and third and mid, they'll put him in the running back. Because with his speed, You give him 4 yards of separation, he's at full speed at 3.5 yards.
All right, I like that. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, they slotted him. They had him lined up all over the field. They had him working out with the wide receivers the entire training camp in the OTAs.
The voluntary OTAs. He primarily worked at wide receiver. And they said he looked like an NFL wide receiver with his route already.
Yeah.
That tells you right there, they're going to use him as a wide receiver more. He's going to take up that slack. Marvin Jones will probably be more of the slot guy because he's lost a step. And Amon-Ra is a solid number 2 on this team. He's proven it year in, year out, 2 years in a row.
Right. And I like I think it's going to be a combination of two different receivers, and I'm going to go with receivers just because, those are the guys that are going to line up as receivers. And Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond kind of make up like the skill set of what Jameson Williams brings to the table. Khalif Raymond has 4.2 speed, and he's the punt returner. You don't want him in this position doing the type of stuff that Williams does, but for the first 6 weeks, he will be doing some of that stuff. And then Josh Reynolds is kind of like, a poor man's DJ Shark. I mean, he's good at going to get the ball at the point of attack. He's never going to be your number 1 wide receiver, but he can absolutely be your number 3 wide receiver. And that's what I think that you got with those 2 guys, that they'll be throwing them in and out. And then you got Sam Laporta. Now, they did not have him out there learning how to block as a tight end. As a matter of fact, he was another guy that is, I think, is going to be a 6'4", 250-pound wide receiver, because they had him lined up all over the field at the X and in a Y and in a Z and from the tight end position, that I think he's going to have a bigger production year as a tight end in the first year than you see normal tight ends, because I don't think they're going to be having him do much blocking. That's Brock Wright. That's James Mitchell. Those are the packages with those 2 guys. Sam Laporta is going to be a receiver. He's going to be a receiving threat before he does anything tight end. So between those 3 guys, I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine in that pass catching room. What do you think? I haven't even asked you guys. Throw that in the comments right here. I'm probably getting trolled right here. Curtis says that Montgomery will get 250 to Gibbs 100 carries. Yep. I see Gibbs averaging 5.2 yards a pop.
I don't disagree with any of that.
I like that. That's a good number right there. Right about 100 carries. You between 5 and 10 carries a game for Gibbs.
Of what I said for rushing yards, that puts him at 520. But I actually think Montgomery is going to get closer to 300 carries.
Yeah, I like these comments right here. Khalif Raymond is going to turn some heads again. St. Brown and Raymond's game is similar. Khalif Raymond is Captain Clutch. Like, you may not have heard him from the outside, the Khalif Raymond type of thing, but every catch it seemed like that he made last year was like 3rd and 14 or something big. That was a big moment that he had to come up big. I love Khalif Raymond. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Curtis Healy brought up a great comment there. Don't sleep on Antoine Green. Like I said, at 6'2" with 4.3 speed, he's another guy that might break this roster. Even though he was a 7th round pick, what he did average with North Carolina was 19.2 yards per catch last year.
So let me throw this to Evan right here, because we're homers, so we're talking about the deeper ends of our roster right here. So when I say Khalif Raymond, does that even ring a bell to you?
I've barely. I mainly know a top 3. I think number 1 wide receiver, of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown, then Jameson Williams, and then Marvin Jones, because I watched him in Carolina.
See, that's crazy. It's like, it's so cool that we do an NFC North show, because like when you get on the inside of your team and then you actually realize that, Marvin Jones might not be the number 3 wide receiver. Like they said, like Antoine Green and these guys are actually going to come in and compete with these spots right here. And Josh Reynolds, gosh, they gave him a $8 million a year deal like 3 years ago, or $6 million a year deal. I can't remember how much they paid him. Jeremy would probably know that more, but he was a solid dude. He came in waiver wire dude.
Who was that you're asking about?
Josh Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds, we're paying him a little over $3 million a year. It's value.
Okay, yeah. So you're just talking about
you're talking about a journeyman vet minimum contract. When I say journeyman, I'm not talking about vet minimum where it's just the guy that's rode the pine. I'm talking about a guy that started in spots and done everything else in a mid-level, like a wide receiver 4.
Yeah, I mean, he'll never be more than a 500-600 yard a year guy, but he's got sure hands, and anytime that he's called on, he makes the catch. He's not going for that big dollar stuff. He's not a wide receiver diva. And I think that's what our room consists of past Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's just a bunch of unselfish dudes that'll go out there. They all catch the ball over the middle. Marvin Jones, Khalif Raymond, Josh, all those guys, they'll catch it over the middle. They'll sacrifice the ball. They'll block out on the edge to get their wide receivers free. So what's up, Barry? Barry from Scotland is on. I had a great conversation with him yesterday. That was a great football conversation. He's a Packer fan.
And don't forget, David Montgomery is good at receiving the halfback screen. So you could actually have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in those screen situations on the field at the same time. And then it's like, ooh, who the hell do we cover?
Wow, here's a gutsy one. I had to go back up to get this one. Urel says, I see Sam Laporta winning Rookie of the Year. Wow, that's pretty bold right there, but I'm going to put that out here right now. It's live. It's in the internet world. Urel Jackson says Sam Laporta, Rookie of the Year. We might have to come back to this next year. Damn, 19 yards per catch. Wow, that's Antoine Green for you right there. But that's what Brad Holmes does. He finds these late round gems. I don't even think that he's missed on a pick. I mean, every single guy that he's picked has at least made the team or the practice squad.
Has he missed on a UDFA yet?
Well, I mean, that's...
No, the UDFAs that have came in and played. Has he missed yet? Not really.
Well, you get a lot of UDFAs, Jeremy. Yes, you
no, but I'm just saying,
miss on a lot of UDFAs.
I'm saying all the ones that have played on the field over the last 2 years due to injury and everything else. Has he missed on the UDFAs he signed? Not really.
Well, let's go back into the past right here. In the arms of the... Let's go back. Jerry Jacobs. Yes, Jerry Jacobs, UDFA.
He might be our starting nickel corner on this roster.
That is crazy. Craig Reynolds. That was what he came. That was a waiver wire pick. But I consider that UDFA waiver wire whenever you're using those other resources to bring guys into your team. If you can get them to contribute in any way, even if it's on special teams, that's a good thing.
Missed on Levi injury prone. I didn't ask about early picks. Brock Wright, UDFA. Shane Zylstra, UDFA.
And if you want to call Levi a bust because he was injured, I'm good with that. If you want to say that's a busted pick, but I'm not going to put that on like Brad Holmes or anything. They picked the top touted defensive tackle that came out of that year. They got two of them. They got Aleem and Levi. Yeah. And I'm not going to blame that on the GM that he can't get healthy. And by the way, they said he's going to be at training camp. So Levi will get a chance to make this team this year and make you eat those words. Hey guys, you getting ready to get swept by the Packers. All right. How do you feel about that? You think
Matt LaFleur does better than 1-3 against a brand new coach in the NFL? Let me know.
But I want to hear Evan on this right here because I want you to address your Packer fan in any way that you want. You can get on a side or not get on a side. We're about ready to get swept by the Packers. What do you say to him, Michael?
I think it's honestly, it's possible. It's possible it could go either way. Because if Jordan Love balls out, then I definitely see it with the weapons that we have acquired and have already. with our wide receiver 1 being Christian Watson, wide receiver 2 Romeo Doubs, and Jalen Reed as wide receiver 3. Those 3 are very interesting weapons that we have. And Christian Watson at the end of last year ended up fixing his.
I did not do
so
that.
He wouldn't. So he quit dropping them. He quit dropping them, and that was a great thing to see. And it also, he didn't let his first throw in the NFL that he missed that would have been a touchdown get to his head.
So you're good with that. So you're good with that comment. I'm good with it. I mean,
I'm good with it. It's always a possibility.
The Packers are the Packers, right? Like until they're not the Packers, they're the Packers, right? The 80s and the 70s did exist for you guys. Like, I know that you didn't get to live that, but I remember a time when the Packers were dog water. Like, it was awful, and I remember that tide being turned.
Dog water they weren't worse than was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at that time.
And this right here, like the rest of I just want you to know, Michael, I want you to hear this too. Every Packer fan that's listening, every team in the NFC North is salivating at the mouth right here, because this is the first time in like 30 years that there's been any kind of uncertainty in Green Bay. You could always hide behind the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. Now, I agree with you. If Jordan Love is really good, the Packers could be really good. But here's the thing. Is a Hall of Fame quarterback makes an average offensive line look like a really, really good offensive line. A Hall of Fame quarterback can make average wide receivers look like really, really, really good wide receivers. Now, is Jordan Love that? I don't know if he's that good, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers was special, and there's not one team in the NFC North that's going, oh man, I'm so happy that Aaron Rodgers is still in the North. No, we're happy. All the teams, we are happy that he is gone and that Jordan Love is the quarterback. And we all feel, at least for 3 months of our life, that we're going to kick your ass twice next year, just like we did last year. So, I don't know. I may eat my words. I may look
a lot of Packers fans saying that the GM was going to re-sign Adrian Amos, and now he's a Jet. So you got the New York Packers and you got the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that's what it is now. I mean, they got 5 former Packers on their.
I'm going to go into that real quick, because there's a reason why that's happening. So throughout Rodgers' career, he always wanted to be the offensive coordinator. He always wanted to do his own thing. And we never let him do that. But now he's going to the Jets, and they're letting him do that. They're letting him get guys that he wants for the offense and letting him do his own thing. So that's really going to be on a referendum on, should the Packers let Rodgers do his own thing, or should we have kept to what we already did? If he goes out and wins a ring, then it shows that we should have let him do what he wanted to do.
Right.
So it's also a referendum on the head coach and the Packers in general.
Man, this is a Lions Talk at Lunch. Oh, yes, that's what you say, John. That's your boy, isn't it? Right there?
Yeah, my guys. Yep.
And that's the thing. That's the beauty thing. This is actually a good offseason for the other 3 teams that aren't the Packers because of that, right? Like, these are questions that are going to get answered, but we don't know the answer to that. I don't know if Jordan Love is good. Maybe Aaron Rodgers has been carrying the Green Bay Packers and everything's going to get exposed this year and you're going to be awful. Or maybe Aaron Rodgers is the anchor that's been holding down the Green Bay Packers, and then this is just going to let it all free and you're going to win 13 games.
Talent-wise, the Packers have had a top 15 defense. Do you still have the same defensive coordinator?
Yep.
Joe Barry's still there. I mean, that's the big question is
so that being said,
can you put them up there?
15, your talent wise is top 15 or above, and you dropped to the 21st ranked defense overall. You were 31st in rushing against. the Lions, although they started historically bad, actually moved up past the Packers in rush defense, even with giving up 350 yards to the Carolina Panthers. That's something to be said about your defensive coordinator, because with that amount of talent to fall that far is huge.
Yeah, well,
like I went into it, and it was his first year last year. It still shouldn't have dropped as far, but it really came up to the first games up until I think it was week 15. It was really just a downhill for both the offense and the defense. Both weren't playing well. We lost to the Titans, the Buccaneers. We were losing to teams we shouldn't have lost to begin with. And that really just brought the whole stat down. And then at the very end of the year, when we got up to the Bears, our defense started to actually play. Our offense decided to actually play. And then when we got to the Dolphins, that's when I was really like, holy crap, we have a defense now. What happened? Because they ended up winning, and it was a defensive battle. And then after the Dolphins came the Vikings, where our defense not only just blew up what we had already done and was flying. If it was off that one game, we'd have a top 10 defense. We ended up smoking the Vikings all the way up until the very end. We kept them at a field goal until the end of the fourth quarter, which is crazy considering Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. I mean, this is the comeback team last year. And we just threw them so far into a grave with that defense, with the picks we were getting, with the stops we were getting.
But also remember, because I want to come in on the Minnesota Viking thing, is they got exposed at the end of the year. Like, they won a lot of these close games at the beginning, but towards the end, like, we smoked them. What was it, like 24-10? Then we whooped them pretty good the second time around. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the other teams did too. Like, they just kind of figured out the ways to stop, realize that they were going to have to win shootouts, and that, that their defense couldn't stop anybody. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with some of that, I guess. So the NFC North is going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to be closer. That's what Devin says. I agree. It could be if the Lions don't live up to the expectations, because with all the other problems in the NFC North right now, with all the other questions, the Lions don't have questions. Y'all want to make Jameson Williams the big question, but I'm not going to fret about my third wide receiver coming off the bench if that's my worst problem. I don't have people holding out.
I got some information to give you about Jameson Williams. He didn't bet in Allen Park. He didn't bet in the parking lot. He was on a team trip, and it was at the end of the day in his hotel room when he bet on a college March Madness Alabama game. That is where it happened. So they're supposed to be able to bet on other sports if they're not on NFL property, right?
So
I kind of have an issue with this. I think that's a huge disparity, because a hotel room, I don't care who pays for it, it is not NFL property.
Yeah, but you know what? I am with Brad Holmes on this, where they're going to sweep it. I don't even think they should fight it. Take your suspension, run with it, and put this thing in the rearview mirror. You don't even need to hit this, regardless of how stupid the law is. Okay, we can argue that. We'll have that as a topic on one of these days, where we can argue the semantics of that law, of that's in there, and how dumb it is.
All right, but I'm just saying.
But I don't want to come on here while we got a bunch of Packer fans and make an excuse that Jameson Williams broke the rules, and he's going to serve a 6-game suspension.
He said, hey, I broke a rule I didn't even know. I'm going to serve my suspension. I'm not going to appeal it. Yep. That shows maturity on his part, despite what anybody thinks.
And it's the right decision for Brad Holmes, too.
A deal out of it, and Brad Holmes backs him on it and agrees with his sentiment. Hey, he's serving his suspension. Leave it alone.
Well, I'm sure that their PR guy told them that. Like, I bet you Brad Holmes is like, look, you need to own this. You need to go out there right in the public. You need to do what you need to do to make it right and just work hard. I mean, it's a good thing anyway, because last year he didn't get a training camp. He had a busted ACL. He didn't get to learn anything. He actually gets to practice with the whole team and, get installed with the offense. It's really going to only affect 3 weeks, because 3 weeks leading up to the suspension being lifted, he's going to be able to practice with the team.
Yeah,
so
we're on.
So he'll be able to, when he comes week 7, he's going to be ready to go. It's not going to be like, oh, a learning curve. No, he's going to be ready. They're going to have the package, the Jameson Williams package. So y'all can laugh. I mean, I wouldn't bet on Jameson Williams being a bust quite yet, because he hasn't been on the field yet. And he's touched the ball, 5 times in the NFL and scored 3. So he obviously has got the skills.
But I kind of agree with you that the NFL should have reviewed it, saw where they did it at, and moved the suspension to less. But it was making an example, because it was the first one who did it, as breaking this rule.
Yeah, and they're setting a precedent anyway. So,
right. That's why we're not fighting it. That's why JMO's not fighting it. That's why Brad's not fighting it. They could, and they might even win, but it'll look like sour milk to all the other fans. So they said, hey, let's just own this, make it a good PR thing, and call it done.
Good call, Barry, right here. If the Lions make the playoffs, even as a wild card, Campbell is coach of the year. I don't know. It really depends on what some of the other teams are doing. I mean, who would have thought that the Giants of all teams would have came out and been the playoff teams, or Seattle, especially Seattle.
In each division, there is a turnover of 5 teams that don't make the playoff, that didn't make the Super Bowl. And sometimes it's the Super Bowl loser that doesn't make the playoffs the next team. So
the parity.
That's parity. And everybody says that they want parity in the NBA. This NBA finals just proved that's not true. Playoffs. The least watched finals in NBA history. 5th least in the history of the whole NBA.
Well, I mean, to tell you how much I care about NBA, I didn't know that the finals was over, and I didn't know which 2 teams were even in the finals until my son told me, who is a really big basketball fan. By the way, my son called the Nuggets at the beginning of the year. I was very impressed with him with that, being able to. But I don't know enough about basketball to make any calls like that.
I'm not making a call.
So just
making an observation. And this is how it tells you American football is daddy in the United States. The XFL had more viewers as an average than any of the playoff games.
Vince McMahon coming through, right?
Well, that's actually Dwayne Rock Johnson that owns that.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, he had to buy it from Vince McMahon. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Should have only been a 2-game suspension. Like I said, I don't mind arguing the semantics of the suspension, but it's like you got to learn. You got to read the handbooks. You're a professional football player. This isn't like, working a Taco Bell where, everybody gets a second chance and stuff. Not everybody gets a chance to do this. So you only get these second chances because you're super talented. Because if you were an unknown dude, you would have probably been cut from the team like the other guys that were cut from the team if it didn't matter.
So he'll be able to play in 11 games this year, right, Damon?
What's that?
He'll be able to play in 11 games this year. He comes back week 7, correct?
Correct.
And our bye week is after that. So he gets another week off to rest after he had a few weeks of tearing it up, right?
Right.
So if he averages 8 catches and around 98 yards a game, you'll end up with 1,000 yards for the season.
That's very bold right there. Okay, so Jeremy Ballrick.
So I say he's going to have a 1,000 yard, 6 touchdown season, even playing only 11 games.
Now that would be crazy. That's a very, very bold take right
There's
there.
my bold take on JMO.
Yeah, it's a dumb rule. It's a dumb rule, but it is a rule. and he's a dumbass for messing. I mean, I don't know if he's a dumbass for messing it up. I'm not gonna crucify JMO over it, because that was the whole point of me bringing this up. Like, if everybody wants to make a really, really big deal about this kid going, I mean, honestly, when you really look at it, the way that Jeremy just painted that out, he goes on a road game, he's rehabbing an ACL injury, and he makes a bet in an away hotel room.
Well, no, but it was in the off season. That's what I'm getting at. It wasn't at an away game. It was in
I thought it was an away game.
No,
Okay.
it was in March Madness. He bet on an Alabama basketball game.
But he did it at the Lions facility, right?
No, he did it in a hotel room at the end of the day.
Well, it had to have been a hotel room that was bought by the Detroit Lions in order for it to be.
Your hotel room should be no different than being in your house. I don't care. I think that's ridiculous.
But the fact that you're making the point right there. The point is, like, if everybody wants to call him the Pete Rose and all this stuff, it's like, stop. I mean, I know we're trolling.
He wasn't even betting on football. He was betting on college basketball.
So what you're saying is he does not have a gambling problem.
Right.
And that is the whole point of bringing this up. I like Campbell. He speaks my language.
Fluent double venties.
I can't put that one up there.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. What team in the division y'all think is going to struggle this season? So
Viking.
Yeah, I think that we've all agreed on this show that it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings
or Chicago. And Chicago is one of the most improved teams, but yet there's still question marks and holes on that roster.
Yeah, but I do see them getting better.
Struggles. They're the most improved team in the division. You can say what you want. That's the most improved team in the division, and it's because they threw money at everybody, going, "Hey, we suck. We need you."
Yeah, they did. They got good starters, and I think that what we're finding out is how important the depth is, and then having extra depth, and that's what Chicago doesn't have. Is they don't have a ton of depth. So if a couple of those starters go down, they're going to be in trouble counting on some guys that, I don't know. He cusses a lot.
Yes, we've had enough of that shit.
You've had enough of that shit. You've had enough of that shit.
You like that?
Yeah, we got some drops in here. We love those. Come
Stop
on.
playing with us.
Those are the ones. No, okay, so we went through and we spent some time on Jameson. It's so funny that we keep going back to Jameson on this thing.
No, the bet was made in March, just before he was suspended. That's been proven. It was not inside the team's facility.
He was actually betting on college football, and he places the bet inside the team's facility.
He bet on March Madness.
He bet on March Madness. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like people like Robert want to come in and they want to take the situation and they want to throw some gasoline on it and change the story a little bit to make it sound just a little bit worse. Well, he was betting on football, but it was college. No, he wasn't betting on football. Betting on March Madness. So, no, but I want to move on from that. I want to go to the offensive line.
Yep.
Offensive line for the Lions, it was ranked as a top 5 line on pretty much any board you're going to go to. You wouldn't see them below that.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think this is the strength. The people that criticize Goff, the people that criticize our running game, it really isn't going to matter because these 5 guys are going to beat the shit out of you. And there's really nothing you could do about it. There's nothing in the North that's really going to stand up to that. Possibly the Green Bay Packers, but even at that, even the best lines,
we were the second ranked O-line last year. And yet we didn't have all 5 starters on the field for 2 straight seasons. We were top 10 the year before, top 5 last year. Think about that. Think about how huge that is.
And then you're returning all of them.
And you're returning everybody this year, and
They
everybody
know.
was healthy.
So that's the biggest reason I think the offense is going to be good, is that offense. And then there's the depth behind the offensive line. I mean, there's a 3-way tie going for that right guard spot that is only going to be depth. That's going to be there to see who's going to be that starter.
I think Graham Glasgow is going to get cut before Logan Stenberg.
Really? Oh, I don't know about that. I like
Graham. Playing like garbage. I've heard every report. He's playing like garbage all OTAs. He's been a turnstile. Last year, he gave up more sacks as a center for Denver than any other center in the league.
Well, that's why we got him cheap. But I mean, if we're going to criticize him for playing bad in a no contact drill with no pads, I'm not going to crucify any of the offensive line right now. But I will give an attaboy to Corby Sorsdahl, 5th-round draft pick, for even being in the conversation here.
And Ryan Svoboda has been said played better than Glasgow, which is a UDFA.
We're just not liking Glasgow. I think that you just don't like our friend from Scotland, Barry, right here, who's just, no, I'm kidding. Because Glasgow sounds like somebody that's from Scotland, doesn't it?
It's actually a city in Russia.
Is it?
Yeah.
Man. So what do you, how about your offensive line? Your offensive line in Green Bay is considered to be a top 10 offensive line.
It is. I think right now it's a little underplayed because we still have, because the way PFF does it is they project who's your starters. And I'm pretty sure we still have at right tackle Josh Nijman. Well, right guard. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, right tackle Josh Nijman is still there.
Oh,
okay, yeah, you have to elaborate.
So we should still probably be the third like we were last year because we have all the same people.
So you don't think that Aaron Rodgers helps that line at all? Like being an awesome quarterback and making good decisions, like
able to move.
It does help, but still, the line's what gives him time to throw. If he didn't have good time.
He didn't have much of a good time last year. I'm sorry. Aiden Hutchinson was on him like white on rice quite a bit. And then James Houston got in the sack party towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but on the rankings right there, if we're gonna give them the crap about the defense being ranked 21st, you got to rank their offensive line where it's ranked.
Offensive line is in the top 10. They probably are the third best O-line in the NFC. But they are top 10 in the NFL because there are about probably 5 O-lines in the AFC that is better than the Packers.
So you think you have to be talking about the Vikings. So you think the Vikings O-line is better than the Packers O-line, or is it the?
No, it's the Eagles, the Lions, and Packers.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about the North. I was like, man, NFC, really third in the NFC
conference? In the NFC conference. I'm talking about in the conference, not our division.
Right. Yeah, well, I know about those Philadelphia Eagles, but gosh, man, those guys.
Isn't that now called UGA North?
Yeah, it is. But when I look at that team with like the Matt Patricia and Darius Slay thing, like if that were to happen to the Lions. Like, if Slay was here and all of a sudden Matt Patricia showed up again, that would be on the front page of every newspaper. Like it's the worst thing ever.
Did Slay ask for a trade?
He did ask for a trade?
Yeah, he asked for a trade 2 weeks after they hired Matt Patricia. And that's Patricia with an A. There's no I in that last name. It's Patricia.
It's Patricia. And if you want more information like that, you can go to one of our domains at mattpatriciastupidface.com and you can see a picture of Matt Patricia's stupid face.
And you got my favorite thing. It was Boob Quinn and Matt Patricia the entire time they were here.
All right. So
he draft his O-line. He couldn't draft anything else good.
So we've been talking Detroit Lions offense today. We went through position by position and we talked about everything except for the tight end room. We haven't really gotten into that. But before we do that, I wanted to put a shout out to everybody where we're streaming right now, because this isn't the NFC North. This is a football talk phone sessions. We are streaming live in the Detroit Lions news. Thank you guys for allowing us onto your platform, Detroit Lions Villain Squad. If you are a Packer fan, go and like that Bill the Packer fan guy, because he puts up pretty good Packer content. Mike the Bear fan puts up pretty good Bear content. And NFC North Open Mic. Smoking Jeremy B, but it's not Smoking Jeremy. He's Biting Kneecaps, Detroit Lions YouTube page. Go subscribe. And thank you for watching. The 18 of you livid, diehard football fans that just can't get enough of football, that you have to listen to a couple talking heads here on June 18th talking about some of these Detroit Lions. Let's get into that tight end room, Jeremy. What do you think of this tight end room?
It has the potential to be one of the best in the division. I'm not saying it is, because right now I think the Bears have the best tight end room, followed by the Vikings or Lions. It's at that point. And because you guys lost Robert Tonyan, I think that lowered the Packers tight end room.
Except I semi-agree, but I also have to disagree. I think we could have the best in the North because of the two rookies we picked up. If not this year, then maybe next year, because both are very, very good rookies in with Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft, both very good rookies.
Well, honestly, before, when it comes to tight end, the learning curve on that, when they're actually playing the tight end position and learning everything about it. I like your take for like 2 years down the road. I think you could have the best tight end room, but for this year, that is going to be a learning curve. You lost a good one in Robert Tonyan, and I disagree with you, Jeremy Ballrick. I think that the Minnesota Vikings definitely have the best tight end room.
Yeah, I think it does.
In the North. Oh, for sure. TJ Hawkinson,
the worst blocking tight end in the league. TJ I can't Blockinson.
Yeah, and they also picked up the best. They also picked up the best blocking tight end in the league, along to go with TJ Hawkinson, that can't Blockinson. So that's what you do when you have a shitty blocking tight end that is a receiving tight end. You go out and get a blocking tight end. So that room is pretty damn solid. I like Cole Kmet. I like the Cole Kmet Tonyan deal from you can argue that. But I definitely think that Hawkinson has a chance to show that he is a top 5 tight end this year, especially in that type of offense.
If he wants to be a top 5, he has to start doing George Kittleish and Travis Kelce type thing.
Well, but he has done that.
No, he drops at first contact. He doesn't break tackles. Watch him.
But he has never broken a tackle. He's never ran for an 80-yard touchdown and shown those flashes before.
He has flashes.
That's what I'm talking about.
But it's not consistent.
Well, no shit. That's why they traded him to Minnesota. And Minnesota drafted him because they think that the flashes might become more consistent and they can pull more out of Hawkinson. So for us to say that definitely won't happen, wow. I mean, how are you a Lions fan to even think like that?
You know what I ranked it with? I ranked it with the E. Brown and the Pettigrew pick.
Yeah, but the Lions have never done anything before ever. So what's to make you think that they're going to win this year? That's the mentality we're going with here. So they think that Hawkinson might be able to be that. So if he does become that, it wouldn't really surprise me. The guy's got the ability.
How many Vikings fans do we have come on this show?
What's that?
How many Vikings fans have you had come on this show?
I don't know. They're in witness protection, man. They must have
know exactly what TJ Hawkinson is.
Well, I know what they do know. They know what Quezzy is, and he's a crappy GM that loves to just get rid of all of their good players for nothing, and then their fans can justify it somehow just because the cap room became available. We're not in cap hell. Look at what we did. No, everything that you did is the result of cap hell. That's why you have to get rid of all your players, is because you can't afford them. That's the definition of cap hell.
I say it's witless protection for Vikings fans.
Brian Love says he falls after the catch consistently. I always hated that too. It's like, dude, there's nobody around you. Why are you diving? Like,
you want to get hurt again. After he leapt over the first guy first year and got the crap knocked out of him and he missed 6 games, he says, I'm tired of that shit.
Yeah.
You've had enough of that shit.
I like the idea of Sam Laporta being a really, really good receiving tight end year one. And I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth, Evan, because of what I just said about your tight ends, because I don't think Laporta is going to be used like a tight end. I don't think that he's going to go into the tight end room and learn all the blocking schemes on the line and everything. I think they're going to primarily line him up, catching bubble screens, maybe chipping a couple guys, but he ain't going to be a big part of the blocking scheme. James Mitchell's proven that he can block out on the edge, and Brock Wright's a really, really good blocking tight end. So they don't need that from Laporta. So if Laporta gets 800 yards receiving in his rookie year, it wouldn't surprise me, with some touchdowns, red zone type of thing. So I like Brock Wright too. He's definitely proven that. I mean, another undrafted free agent, right? Another gem that Brad Holmes just finds. He's a complete package. Kind of reminds me of a poor man's Jason Witten. And
another UDFA he found.
And which one?
AJ Parker.
Well, and then Shane Zylstra. That was another UDFA from the tight end room. I don't know if he's going to make the team now.
I know Derek Deese won't. These nuts are gone.
These is gone. Deese is gone. Well, we actually made it through all of the offense. This is crazy.
So tomorrow the defense?
Yeah, we're gonna go through all the defense tomorrow. That's cool. It actually worked out really, really nice. And I appreciate you're a trooper, Evan, because I know that it's got to be hard to sit here through a whole bunch of Homer Lions talk. And you're more than welcome to come on here tomorrow, and you as well out there. I throw the links in there. You guys are more than welcome to hop on here. I may actually throw the phone number out there so you guys can call on here. But
at the beginning of the show, so we can get some callers in and have some really bad takes. Because this is the home of the bad takes, people.
It is the home of the bad takes, but we have to understand the psychology. And I'm going to leave you with the psychology of the bad takes right here. This doesn't mean that I think that people come on here and make bad takes. It's like, what if you had a chance to be wrong 75% of the time? NFC North Open Mic. You can put a take out there where you can be guaranteed that 3/4 of the listeners think that you're full of crap. Yep. And if you want to go through that type of punishment and you have the gonads to come and represent your NFC North team, then join us each and every Monday night, NFC North Open Mic, 7 p.m. We're going to be streaming live into all of these same platforms and doing this thing. We're streaming live into Detroit Lions, new Detroit Lions villain squad, Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan, Jeremy Ballreich's Biting Kneecaps YouTube page. God bless you guys, man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of the phone sessions. God bless you guys.
Time to get your kid, right?
Oh, my kid doesn't do that no more.
Oh, that's right. School's done.
No more. School is out, but that is good. Though. We get an hour of football talk in the morning. Make sure you join us each and every morning on the weekdays, 11 a.m. Talk some football with us. God bless you guys. I'm Russell Wayne from Smoking Jeremy B, from Evan the Packer fan. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
That's my Twitter handle. And don't forget to go to southfloridatribune.com. Motor City Tribune is underneath the heading, the little